They say knowledge is power, but some knowledge was never meant to be known. Hidden in the shadows of ancient scrolls lies a book so mysterious, so controversial, that it was once considered scripture, and then, just like that, erased. A book quoted by apostles, read by early Christians, preserved in a remote mountain country for thousands of years, and yet missing from nearly every Bible today. What did this book say that made powerful men want it buried? What secrets did it hold about angels, giants, the end of the world, and us? This is not just a tale of lost scripture. This is the real reason the Book of Enoch is not in the Bible. Let's begin with the man himself, Enoch. In Genesis chapter 5, verse 24, we read something curious. Enoch walked with God, and he was not, for God took him. No death, no grave, no farewell. Enoch disappears, swept up by God himself. One of only two men in the Bible who never tasted death. The other, Elijah. But what happened to Enoch after God took him? Where did he go? What did he see? The Book of Enoch claims to answer that. It takes us on a cosmic journey through heaven's layers, introduces angelic hierarchies, the underworld, visions of divine judgment, and most shockingly, the origin of evil through angelic rebellion. This book was so influential that it shaped early Jewish and Christian thought. Archaeological discoveries like the Dead Sea Scrolls, found in Qumran, include multiple fragments of Enoch, indicating its popularity among the Essenes, a radical Jewish sect who saw themselves as keepers of divine mysteries. But then, something happened. Over time, Enoch went from sacred to forbidden. Why? At the heart of Enoch's writings lies the story of the Watchers, fallen angels who broke divine laws. According to the Book of Enoch, 200 angels descended to earth on Mount Hermon. Their leader was Semjaza. Their mission? Not assigned by God. They came by choice. They took human women as wives and produced monstrous offspring called the Nephilim. These beings were giants, corrupt, violent, devourers of life. They were half angel, half human. But that's not all. The Watchers taught humans forbidden knowledge, sorcery, astrology, root cutting, enchantments, weapon making, cosmetics, seduction, and more. As Enoch chapter 8 from verse 1 to 3 states, "And Azazel taught men to make swords and knives, and bracelets and ornaments, and the beautifying of the eyelids, and there arose much godlessness." This was divine contamination. The boundaries between heaven and earth were shattered. And God, enraged by this rebellion, sent archangels, Michael, Raphael, Uriel, to imprison the fallen angels and cleanse the earth through the flood. Sound familiar? It echoes the story of Noah in Genesis. But this version gives the backstory. It doesn't just blame humanity. It accuses spiritual beings. It expands the fall beyond Eden into the heavens. And that was a problem, because to accept Enoch's version was to accept that evil has angelic roots, that the divine realm isn't pristine, it's divided, flawed. And so, it had to go. As the church grew in power and influence, especially after Christianity became legal in Rome, leaders faced an urgent question. Which books should be considered inspired? Which were too dangerous, too Jewish, or too mystic? And that's when canonization began. Councils like Laodicea, 363 CE, Hippo, 393 CE, and Carthage, 397 CE, tried to define what books made it into the Bible. Enoch didn't make the cut. Why? Let's break it down. 1. Too supernatural. Church theologians, especially in the West, were becoming uncomfortable with mystical elements like angelic rebellions and cosmic visions. They preferred doctrine over drama. 2. Too apocalyptic. The Book of Enoch is deeply prophetic, foretelling the Messiah, the end of days, and divine judgment. This didn't sit well with Roman influence, which wanted stability. 3. Too Jewish. The book is heavily rooted in Jewish tradition. As Christianity sought to distinguish itself from Judaism, books with deep Hebrew themes were sidelined. 4. Too uncontrollable. Accepting Enoch meant admitting the Bible wasn't complete, that there were truths outside of canon, and that terrified the gatekeepers of orthodoxy. So what did they do? They erased it. It vanished from the Western world. But not everywhere. The Ethiopian Orthodox Church preserved the Book of Enoch in its complete form and still includes it in their Bible today. When Scottish explorer James Bruce brought it back to Europe in 1773, it shocked scholars. Here was a book quoted by Jude, echoed in Revelation, mirrored in Genesis, yet forgotten by most of Christendom. Today, the Book of Enoch is making a comeback. Not in official canon, but in curiosity. Theologians, archaeologists, and seekers of truth are reopening the scrolls. And what they're finding is incredible. Jesus' words about the days of Noah in Matthew chapter 24, verse 37, suddenly make more sense when read alongside Enoch. The Nephilim of Genesis chapter 6 stop being mysterious footnotes. They become central to the flood story. The angelology of Paul, Peter, and Revelation becomes richer when placed against Enoch's cosmic framework. Enoch doesn't contradict the Bible. It fills in the gaps. But that's precisely why some fear it. Because if Enoch is right, then we're not just dealing with sin, we're caught in an ancient celestial war. A rebellion that started in heaven and still echoes in our world today. Maybe that's why Enoch was removed, not because it was false, but because it was too true, too revealing, too dangerous, too alive. If this journey into the Book of Enoch opened your mind, don't keep it to yourself. Like this video to support deeper Bible investigations. Subscribe for more hidden truths, ancient mysteries, and stories that challenge what we think we know. Share this video with someone who's ready to go beyond the surface. And drop a comment below. Which part of Enoch's story fascinated you the most? Was it the fall of the Watchers? The censorship of sacred texts? Or the idea that this book might hold keys to understanding the end times? Let's talk about it, right here in the comments. Because some truths deserve to be remembered.